This conference will now be recorded.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Let us start the session. Yeah, in our last session, we were discussing about standard objects, like how to create the data model, like how can we make use the existing object in the Salesforce, like how Salesforce maintain the data in the Salesforce application in terms of Salesforce standard objects. Today, we'll see how to create a custom object and how to customize, how to configure the custom data model in the Salesforce application. Okay, let me log into Salesforce app. So in the last session, we have created a Salesforce instance. This is our username. Verification code. So I have logged into Salesforce instance. In this Salesforce app, you can see multiple options. Like the Salesforce instance has different features, different functionalities. Okay, so by looking at these features, don't get confused. Like we have, suppose if I open sales application, if I open sales application, we can see multiple objects like opportunities, leads, tasks, accounts, contacts, campaigns. These are the different tabs, different objects available. But you don't no need to bother about these objects, these tabs. So we're going to explain one by one. Like we are starting from the scratch, from the basics. The basics is you have to understand every application how they manage the data. So every application, like they should have a backend system, they should have some user interface, the front end system. Okay, so when we compare with other application, Salesforce also follow the same. Salesforce also follow the same. Like so, why I'm explaining this database and data model, how we are creating the custom, how we are creating the custom fields in the standard object, how we are creating the custom object in Salesforce, because I try to make you understand how we are managing the data in the Salesforce application. So forget about these opportunities. What is this opportunities? What is this lead task? Okay, so I'm going to explain clearly. So there is a concept called sales process. In the sales process, I can explain each and every object functionality. So how exactly, what exactly it works in the Salesforce application. Each functionality feature I'm going to explain, but let's focus on custom data model design, like how we can create a tables, how we are managing the data, how to store the data, and how we retrieve the data. So for the basic steps, once you understand, we can explore more about these standard objects, like each object, what is the specific functionality assigned for this object. So we're going to discuss in our further sessions. So as I told you in the last session, Salesforce manage data in the form of objects. So in general terms, we have every database as some tables. In the tables, we have to create some records where we have to store the information in the form of tables. So here in the Salesforce, there is a inbuilt cloud database. In the inbuilt cloud database, Salesforce maintain information in the form of objects. In the form of objects. So these are all the objects. Opportunities, leads, tasks, accounts are the objects. These are the standard objects. Okay, in the standard object, if you want to add any fields, if you want to add your own column in the field in the table, like in the standard object, if you want to create a custom field, so I have shown you the navigation, like we have the object manager. Okay, so you may ask question like what is this accounts tab? And okay, so what is this accounts tab? And the account tab, same account name you can find in the object manager. So as I shown you, we can create a fields and we can configure, we can add things in the object manager. So you may ask what is the difference between accounts in this accounts tab and account in the object manager. So object in the object manager, those are the tables. Object manager has details about the table. Like suppose account is a table, and what is the account name, account, what are the fields available in the account object. So those we can find in the object manager. But this accounts tab is the user interface. So for account object, let me explain in simple terms. So we have a Salesforce application, okay, SFDCR, Salesforce app. So in the Salesforce app, Salesforce maintain data in the form of cloud database. So the backend system is inbuilt cloud database. So in this inbuilt cloud database, Salesforce maintain data in the form of objects. In the form of objects. Suppose in this database there are some objects. Standard objects means there are some tables. Suppose I have account table, account table. So in the account table, I have some columns: account name, account email, account phone, account company. These are the fields in the account object. So in the cloud database, how they are managing the data? They're managing data in the form of objects. So table has some columns. So object has some fields. So as I told you, Salesforce terminology, tables are nothing but object and column is nothing but field. Okay. So in this table, we need to store the information. Like we need to create a record. So record is nothing but data. That data we are trying to store in the object. Okay. So this information like object name, field names. So this information we can find in the object manager. So this information we can find in the object manager. You can find in the object manager. Object manager. So in the Salesforce, we can see these object details in the object manager. But for every object, there should be a user interface. Okay, this is the table. Suppose if you want to store the data, there should be a user interface like UI. So from the view, from the input form only, we can create the record. Suppose there is an input form. Suppose in the Salesforce instance, there is a input form. suppose we have creating input form. Suppose for name, email, home, company, we have save button. We have save button. So with this input form, we're able to save the record in the database. We're able to save the record in the account table. So in the database, we have account table. In the account table, we can create this record. We have save button. Okay. So in the Salesforce application, you can see a tab called account. You can see account tab. Account tab. Okay. So if I click on this account tab, you can see new button. You can see new button. You can see new button. So if I click on this new button, the input form has to open. Okay. So this input form has to open. If I click on this new button, this input form has to open. Okay. What are the information we are providing in this input form? Suppose I'm giving test account, test at the rate of gmail.com, phone number, give some phone number, the company. Okay. So once I hit the save button as a user, if I hit the save button, this record has to store in the database. So in the database, we have a table called account. Okay. In the account object, this record has to store. This table, in this account table, this record has to store. What are the inputs we are giving from the input form? So that values has to store in the database. That values has to store in the account object. Okay. So here, test values, what are the information we are giving from the input form? So the value has to store here. So this data has to store in the object. Okay. So this is called as tab. Tab is nothing but user interface. This will call it as tab. You call it as standard tab or tab. Standard tab. Okay. So with this tab, we can access the user interface. With the tab, we can access the user interface. With the object manager, we can see the object details. What are the fields available? What are the object name and what are the what type of fields it consists of? Okay, those information we can find in the object manager. So in the object manager, you can see all the objects. You can see all the objects. What are the UI defined on that object? What is the formula fields like? We're going to explore more things about the object manager. Suppose if I go to object manager in the Salesforce instance, if I go to object manager, okay, if I go to object manager, You can find all the objects here. These are all the standard objects and custom objects. These are all the standard objects. Okay. So in the last session, we have seen how to create a custom field on the standard object. How to create a custom field on the standard object. Suppose I have a account table. In the account table, I want to add one more column. I want to add one more column in my account object. Suppose here, just I want to add one more column. The column name is customer email. Suppose I want to create email type field. So I want to capture the customer email. Sorry. So in the last session, we have seen how to create a custom field. What is the field? So in general terms, field is nothing but a column. So in the standard table, if you want to create a custom field, we can create the field in the object manager. From the object manager only, we can create the field. So whatever the field we are creating from the object manager, that field has to replicate on the tab, replicate on the user interface. So here, once we add the field in the object manager account object, so that field has to replicate in the user interface. Automatically, this field has to replicate on the user interface. So if I click on accounts, new, and if you see input form, in the input form, whatever the field we have created, that field has to accessible from the input form. So as I have shown you, in the Salesforce instance, we have created a field, custom field called customer email. I click on new. So this is a new. I click on new. You can see customer email field. See this customer email field we have created from the object manager. Okay. Just we are configuring the object details in the object manager, but this tab is the user interface for the object. So with the user interface only, we can create the records in the Salesforce objects. Okay. Let's see how to access this accounts tab and objects in the classic version. So as I told you, we have two flavors of UI, classic UI and lightning UI. This is the lightning UI. Let's see how can we access this accounts tab and objects in the classic version. Okay, let's switch to classic version. Let's switch to Salesforce Classic. Okay, in the classic version also we can see accounts tab. So the UI is different. Okay, if I click on this accounts tab, you can see new button. You can see new button. So what is the record we have created from the class lightning? So that all the record also accessing from the classic. The functionality is not going to change, but the UI has to change. Okay. So if you want to create a new record, just click on new button. You can see the input form. So this input form in classic version. So classic is like a page centric version. Okay. So with this input form, we can create a record. These are all the fields. So each field functionality I can explain like as part of sales process. Just I'm showing how can we create custom fields on the standard object and how can we create a custom object in the Salesforce instance. Okay, let's save the record. So I've shown you object UI. For account object, we have a UI in the form of accounts tab. So I want to see the object details, so which all the fields available, and if you want to configure anything in the account object, how can we do that in the classic version? So we have a setup menu in the Salesforce Classic. Just click on this setup link. Okay. So left side you can see setup link. In the setup link, just click on. So we have so many options here. So don't get confused about by looking all these options. Like we'll start with customize. So we'll cover one by one. We're going to cover all these configurations as part of this admin training. So initially we'll start with customize. In the build section we have customize. Okay, under customize section you can see all the objects: account object, activities, campaigns, opportunities. These are all the object, case object. Okay, so if you want to customize anything in this object, standard object, you just select the object. So in which object you want to customize? Suppose click on accounts, just go to fields. You can see account fields. All the fields exist on the account object: account name, account number, account owner. So we have created a custom field from the object manager. So that field also we can find in the classic version. So customer email, this field we have created. This field we have created. Okay, and hope you understood how to create a custom field on the standard object. Okay, so you have to practice. Just have to practice. Just create a custom fields on different objects. Like you can create a custom fields on campaigns, leads, opportunities. Okay, at least you can take three standard objects, and three standard object you can create custom fields. Suppose if you want to create a custom field on campaign object, so in the classic version, if you want to create a custom field on the campaign object, what is the navigation you have to follow? Just click on setup. Same steps we have to follow. Setup, go to customize. We have administrator section and we have build sections. In the build section you can see customize. Under customize you can select any object. So in which object you want to create a field, in which object you want to create a field, just select campaign object. Suppose in the campaign object, if you want to add a field, just click on campaigns and fields. Okay, so these are all the campaign object fields. Okay, if you want to create a new field, just click on, so under campaign custom fields and relationship section, you just click on new. Okay, these are all the data types. So which type of field you want to create on the object? So you have to select the data type. So which type of information you want to store in the on the field, based on that you have to select a field. Based on that you have to select a field. So don't touch this fields auto number formulas. So I'm going to cover a separate session: auto number, formulas, roll up summary field, lookup and external lookup. So up to here, so we're going to cover from the separate session as part of relationships concept. But you can try any of this field: checkbox, currency, date time, email, geolocation. So you can select any type of field. URL, if you want to store any URL endpoint, okay, you can select this. Okay, so from checkbox to URL, you can try any of the field. You can select any of the field type and you can create. So easily you can understand. So suppose if you select a phone, so the phone means it accepts only numbers. The percentage means it accepts decimal numbers, and number means it also accept only numbers. And the geolocation, we have to specify the URL. So based on that, it has to create a geolocation. So in this field section, the tricky part is for encrypted, text encrypted, and this geolocation. Okay, so I'll explain in this next session the geolocation and the text encrypted. So remaining all the fields you can create directly, you can select, and the same process which we have followed in the last session. Just click on, just follow this standard setup. Just click on next. So that way you can create a custom field. Okay, just practice. Try to create custom fields on campaigns, leads, opportunities. Okay, and these three objects, just try to create different types of fields, not only phone number field or email field. You can try with the checkbox, you can try with date time, you can try with the number, percentage, pick list. Okay, this pick list is nothing but like it's a drop down. So the drop down. So similarly, this kind of fields we can create in the object pick list fields. So here is the pick list. Okay, this type of pick list fields we can create. Okay, we just practice them. Okay, so in the writing also, okay, switch to lighting. In the object manager also the same navigation. So in the last session, we have created custom field from the object manager. Go to setup. So in the object manager, we can select any object. So from object manager, we can search for the object. In the classic, like we have to open up the arrows, and with that we can select the object. But in the object manager, we can search for the object. Okay, suppose if you want to create, if you want to add anything in the campaign object, you can search for the campaign object. Campaign. So you can select the campaign. In the campaign object, you can see fields and relationship section. You just click on fields and relationship. This the first option is new. So you can create a, if you want to create a new field, just click on new, and we have to select the data type. So checkbox currency. Okay, so you can select any field. Suppose if I want to create checkbox, if I want to create checkbox type, just click on next. Suppose I want to create is active campaign. Is active campaign is my field name. Okay, so by default it's unchecked. Okay, the same step, click on next. So visible for all the users. So we can go with the default steps. Click on next. On the page level, click on save. Click on save. I have created is active campaign field. Is active campaign field on the. So you can search for the field. Is active campaign is my field. Okay. So this field we can see in the user interface. So we have a campaign tab. You can see campaign tab here. Just click on campaign new. Click on new button. Click on new button. You can see the input form for the campaign. So in this input form, you can see is active campaign. So this field we have created just. Is active campaign is my field. So this is the checkbox field. So I have selected data type as checkbox. You can see the checkbox type. So you can enable or disable. Okay, the same way you can create field on any standard object. Any standard object. Okay. So in the database, we're able to handle standard objects. Like we have standard tables. In the standard tables, we are able to create custom fields. But I want to create my own table in the database. So in the inbuilt cloud database, I want to create my own table. Suppose I want to maintain information in my own table. Okay, in that case, we can create a custom table. So we can create our own table in the form of custom object. So in Salesforce terminology, objects, table is nothing but object. So just I want to create a custom object, my own object. So that object we call it as custom object. So let's see how to create a custom object in the Salesforce instance. Okay. So suppose I want to create student object, student custom object. Student custom object. Okay. So in the database, in the cloud database, I want to create this student object. Okay. Let's see how to create this student object in the Salesforce application. Okay. So go to object manager. Go to object manager. In the object manager, you can see all the standard objects. These are all the standard objects. So I don't want to make use of the standard object. I want to create my own object. I want to create my own object called student. So here in this object manager, we can see create option. You can see create option. Just click on this create custom object. Create custom object. Okay. So a form has to open. So with this form, we can create a new custom object. So we have to specify the object name. So which name you want to give for the object. Okay. Just I want to create student object. Give student object. Just click on next. Just click on save. Now student object has created. Student custom object has created. So every custom object and custom field, it should append with the underscore underscore C. So with this underscore C, we can recognize this is the custom object or the custom field. Okay, the student object is created in the database in the Salesforce R. We are able to create a custom object. So we are able to create a custom table. Okay, in the custom table, we can see automatically some standard fields has to generate. Automatically, some columns has to generate. Suppose in the student object, once we create a student object, you can see some standard fields. If I go to, we are in student object, we go to object manager. In the object manager, search for student. Search for student. So we have a student object. Once I open the student object, under fields and relationship section, you can see some standard fields. These are the auto-generated fields: name, owner ID, last modified by and created by ID. So these are the standard fields. So every custom object, for every custom object, there are 4 fields has to generate automatically. Generate automatically. Okay. So here in this student object, we have some student standard fields called name. Standard fields called name. Okay. So name created by, last modified by, so they are the standard fields automatically generated. Okay. In the custom object also, we can create custom fields. So as we have created custom fields on the standard object, the same way, if you want to create a custom field on the custom object, so the same process. Suppose if you want to create a custom field on this student object, the same process, just click on new. Under this fields and relationship section, we just click on new. The same process, we have to select the data type. So which type of field you want to create. Suppose I want to create student email field. So just I want to capture emails, student emails. So select email, click on next. Student email. This is the field name. Click on next. Visible for all the users. Click on next. Save and new. Just I want to create one more field. Suppose I want to create text area field. Text area field. Just click on next. Student information field. Student information field. I want to create. Just click on next. Visible for all the users and save. Okay, if you want to create one more field, like I want to create phone field, to select phone type, phone data type, click on next. Student phone. Okay, I have created a student table. The student table exists in the object manager. Student table exists in the object manager because we are able to find the information about the student table in the object manager. Okay, the same way, if you want to access, if you want to see the details in the classic version, so generally we can see object details in the object manager in lightning version. If you want to access the information in classic version, so you have to go to, let me show you, let's switch to classic version. Switch to Salesforce classic. So in the classic version, what are the steps we need to follow if you want to create a custom object? So in the object manager itself, we're able to create a custom object. But here in the classic version is, in the classic version navigation is different. Okay, just click on setup. Just click on setup. For all the standard objects, you can find all the standard object in the customize section. In the customize section, you can see all the standard objects. But I want to create a new custom object. I want to create my own custom object in the Salesforce instance. So in that case, you just go to create, just go to create. So what do you want to create? So just I want to create objects. I want to create a custom object. If I click on this objects, in this object section, you can see custom objects. What are all the existing objects available? So you can see student object. This student object we have created from the object manager. Okay, what are the functionality we have implemented in Lightning that also replicate in the classic? Okay, suppose from the classic, from this object section, I want to create a new object, one more object. Just click on new custom object. Let's create course object. Course object. Okay, let's click on save. Okay, so if you want to see the objects, existing custom objects in the Salesforce application, go to setup, go to setup. Under create objects, you can see all the custom objects. So we have two custom objects, course and student, course and students. So if I switch to Lightning, if I switch to Lightning in the object manager, we can see two custom objects. We can see all the objects. In the object manager, we can see all the objects. We go to the setup menu. We go to object manager, you can see all the objects. You can see all the custom objects and standard objects. You can search for the object. Suppose we have created course object. Search for course object. Course object. In the course object, we didn't create any field. So under fields and relationship, you can see only 4 fields because we didn't create any custom fields on the course object. We didn't create any custom fields on the course object. Okay. So in the database, we're able to create student object and course object. We have student object and course object. Now we have two custom objects. So course name, it's a default one, and here we have created email custom field, we have phone custom field, student information custom field. These are the fields we have created in the database. Okay, so we have an object, we have a student object, we have a course object, but we don't see any user interface for student object and course object. We don't see any user interface for student object and course object. If I open application, once I refresh the page, we don't see user interface for this custom objects. For course object and student object, we don't see any user interface. So there should be a tab. So with the tab only, we can access the input form. We can access the user interface, but we don't see any user interface for the custom object. Okay, so we have an object. We have two objects. For these two objects, we need to create a user interface. We need to create a view. We need to create a input form or output form. Let's see how to create a user interface for the custom objects. Okay, so these are all the tabs for accounts, contacts, opportunities, leads. These are all the tabs. These are all the standard tabs. So we need to create a custom tab for the custom object. So we have created two custom objects. For these two custom objects, I want to create a custom tab. I want to create a custom tab. Just click on setup. So let's create this custom tab in the classic version. Then I can show you the same navigation in the lightning. So let's switch to classic first. Okay, just I want to create a tab for the student object and course object. So here in this tab panel, I want to show student tab and course tab. If I click on student tab, you can see new button. With the new button, you can see all the input fields. So with the input field, with the input form, we can provide the information, and if you click on save button, that record has to store in the student object. The same thing I want to apply for course object. Okay, so we have to create a custom tab for the object. I want to create a custom tab for student object and course object. Okay, so let's see how to create a custom tab for the custom object. Okay, just click on setup. Just click on setup. In the setup menu, you can see option for under build section. You can see create. You can see option for create. Okay, we're able to create objects. Here I want to create a tab. You can select the tab. Let me show you navigation once again. Just click on setup. In the setup, we have administrator section and build section. In the build section, you can see create. Okay, under create, you can see option for creating a new object. You can see also option for creating a new tab. New tab. Just click on this tabs. Okay, so we have different types of tabs. We can create different types of tabs in the Salesforce. Like we can create a custom object tab, we can create a web tab, we can create a visual post tab, we can create lightning tab and lightning page tab. So let's focus on only custom object tab. So I have a custom object. For the custom object, I want to create a tab. Okay, so let's select custom object tab. Just I want to create a custom tab for my custom object. Okay, just click on new. Just click on new. So here we have a object drop down. We have a object drop down. In this drop down, we can see what are all the custom objects available in the Salesforce instance. In this drop down, we can find what are all existing custom objects in the Salesforce application. How many custom objects we have? We have only two objects, student object and course object. Okay, for which object you want to create a tab, just select that object. Okay, in this drop down, you can see only two objects, course object and student object. So first I want to create a custom tab for student object. Just select student object, select the tab style. So there are some default like standard templates. You can select any of these templates. Just click on next. So which users you want to give access? So default off for all the users. Just enable for only administrator. The current logged in user, this Salesforce learner, is a administrator. For this user only, I want to give access. Okay, just enable. So for system administrator, let's make it as default on. Default on. Okay, just click on next. So we have different applications in the Salesforce. Just I want to give access for only sales application, sales standard. Okay, let's give access for all the application. So if you want to give access for only sales application, you can disable and you can enable for the space. Suppose sales standard. Suppose for sales console, for sales standard lightning. Okay, only the specific application I want to give access. So means that if I select sales application, you can see the tab. If I select service application, you can see the tab. Okay, in which application you want to enable this tab. Okay, just I want to enable only for sales application. Let's click on next. Let's click on save. Okay, students tab has created. Student tab created. Just I want to create one more tab for one more custom object tab for course object. Just click on new. We have only one object left. We have course object. So for student object, we have already created a custom tab. Just select the course object and select the tab style. Same steps. So for which user you want to give access? Default of apply for default on for only system administrator. Click on next. Save. Okay. So we have created student tab and course tab. Student tab and course tab. So are we able to see these tabs? Tab panel. No. If I click on this drop down, here you can see student and courses. Student and courses. Okay. Just I want to change the position. Just I want to change this position, tab position from last to or second at the. Okay. So in that case, on the tab panel, just click on this plus symbol. Just click on this plus symbol. Okay. Just click on customize my tabs. Customize my tabs. So in the tab panel, this is the tab panel. In the tab panel, which tabs you want to show, which tabs you want to hide. Okay. So these are all the selected tabs. Selected tabs means you can access all these tabs in the tab panel. Okay. Just you want to hide forecast tab, contacts tab, orders tab, okay, solutions tab, products tab. Let's add products, contact campaigns. Okay, so reports and dashboards. Okay, just I want to show reports and dashboard, and I want to change this position. Student after charter, I want to, so in between charter and campaign, in between charter and campaign, I want to show this student and course tabs. Okay, between charter and campaigns, I have added. So after students, let's add a course. Just change the position. So after charter, I want to show this course tab, students tab, and course tab. So here, once I save, you can see charter, students, courses, and campaign. Okay, so just save. You can see after charter, you can see students tab, courses tab, courses tab. So if I click on this students tab, if I click on the students tab, you can see a new button. You can see a new button. Okay, so we have this field: student name, student email, student information, and the student phone. So what are the custom fields? Student name is the standard field, and email, information, phone, these are all the custom fields we have created in the student object. Okay, and the course object we have only one field. We have only one standard fields. I go to course and new, you can see only course name. Like we have created by, last modified by, those are all the read-only fields. So after saving the record, we can see those fields. We can see those fields in the detail page. Okay. So we are able to create student and course fields, course tabs. Okay. Then the course field, if you have created any object, any fields, you can see them in the input form. Okay. So let's see how to create a tab in the Lightning version. Let's see how to create a tab in the Lightning version. Okay, just switch to Lightning. The same tab we can access in the Lightning version as well. See. So the navigation is different because we have to create a new application here, new custom application. So we can see student tab, the student tab. You can see input form for the student object, and we can see the fields. Okay, so here, suppose in the Lightning, I want to show only my custom application. So there are different applications, sales application, service application, or marketing applications. So we have different applications. Go to, we select any application, sales, content, service console, marketing. These are the application. Just I want to create a new application, my own application. Okay, if I click on that application, if I open that application, you can see only specific tabs. You can see only specific tabs. Okay, so I don't want to show all these tabs. I don't want to show all these tabs. Just I want to show my own tabs. Suppose we have created student tab and course tab. So those tabs only I want to show in the tab panel. Okay, so let's create a custom application. Okay, in the app launcher, we can see the custom application. So let's create a custom application in the classic version first. So here in the Lightning version, let me show you how to create a custom tab. So in the setup menu, you can see option for user interface. You can see option for user interface. We are in setup menu. The Lightning version, we are in setup menu. In the setup menu, just open user interface. We have user interface. So we have user interface. So in this user interface, you can create a custom tab. Just select a tab. Click on tab. Okay, we have course tab and student tab. If you want to create a new tab, just click on new. So we don't have any custom objects. So if you create one custom object, you can find custom object in this drop down. So with that, you can create a custom tab. Okay. So let's switch to classic version. Okay. So these are the application section. Like we have sales application, service application, marketing application, community application. These are all the standard applications. Okay, just I want to create a custom application. Just I want to create my own application. Suppose I want to create Salesforce master application. So if I select Salesforce master application, I want to show only student and course tabs. I don't want to show all these tabs. These are all the standard application. Let's see how to create a custom application in the Salesforce instance. Okay, the same navigation, just click on setup. And the setup menu, you can see option for create. So now this time I want to create a new application. So we are able to create objects, we are able to create tabs. Now I want to create a application, custom application. Just click on app. Okay, so these are all the existing applications. These are all the standard applications. So here I want to create a new application called Salesforce master. So custom app. Salesforce Master is my custom application. Okay, just click on next. So we can change the logo. So here we have a Salesforce logo. I don't want to show this logo. So if you want to change this logo, you can upload this image in the documents file. So then you can change the logo. So let me create a custom application first. Then I can modify and I can change this logo from Salesforce to our own branding, our own logo. Okay, just click on next. Okay, in this custom application, which tabs we want to show? In this Salesforce Master custom application, which tabs we want to show in the tab panel? Just I want to show Home tab. So I have Students tab, Students tab, and Course tab. Okay, just I want to show Home, Student, and Courses. Home, Student, and Courses. Just click on next. Okay, so just I want to enable for only administrator, only for administrator. Just click on save. So I have created a custom application called Salesforce Master. Salesforce Master is my custom application. Okay. So in the app section, refresh the page, once I refresh the page, in the app section, in this app drop down, you can see my custom application. Salesforce Master is my custom application. Okay, if I click on the Salesforce Master custom application, you can see only student and course, tabs. So from here, you can create a new student record. Okay, suppose if you want to change this logo, so I want to change this logo. So I don't want to show this Salesforce standard logo. If you want to add your own logo, just go to app, suppose setup, create. Just I want to modify this Salesforce master application. Go to create apps. So we have Salesforce master custom application. So this application I want to modify. Okay, just I want to change the logo. Okay, so before going to change this logo, so we have to upload the logo in the documents file. So we have a object called standard object called documents. So we have to upload the image in the into document file. Just go to simple search for documents, document object, documents, select the documents, create a new document here. Just we need to upload from it. Logo. Okay. So we have to upload the image. Save. Just I'm uploading this logo. Okay. So this logo I want to configure in my application. In this application, just click on insert an image. See SF master logo. Just select the SF master logo and save. Once I refresh the page, okay, we are in Salesforce master application. So for the Salesforce master application, you can see my own logo. Okay, suppose if you go to sales application, the logo remains standard Salesforce logo. Okay, if I open my own application, Salesforce master application, you can see my own logo and my own tabs. So whichever the objects, whichever the tabs we have created, custom tabs, so this we can access. Okay. Yeah, that's it for today. So hope you understood how to create a custom object, how to create a custom tab, how to create a custom application in the Salesforce. Okay. So as of now, any questions?
I think Vijay, if you give any task, it will be helpful to us, or we can practice.
Yes, sir. I give assignment, like I can share a document. So the assignment is like, so you have to create two objects. I can share a document with the assignments, and you have to create, as I told you, suppose in the object, you go to setup, you go to objects. Suppose we have a course object. So in the course object, you have to create at least 10 fields. 10 fields. So 10 fields with different data types. 10 fields with the different data types. Like for just leave this 4 fields. Just a checkbox, currency, date. So with these data types, you have to create at least 4 fields on each object. And as I told you, for campaigns, leads, and contacts object also, you have to create the fields. So you should familiar with this object field types. Okay, how one, suppose if you select a number at percent, so how the user UI looks like. Okay, so I can share a document. In the document I can give assignments. You just follow the document and you can practice them. And people who have received the recorded session, just ping me your email IDs or phone number. I can share recorded sessions. This is my email ID. You just send me a text mail. And this is my mobile number. Yeah. Any other questions?
Right. And tomorrow, also the same time we'll have session.
Yeah, tomorrow and day after tomorrow we don't have session actually. We'll have session on Monday, same time.
Okay, got it.
Saturday, Sunday sessions, and from Monday we'll have session, and we'll start with the custom configuration of Salesforce, creating relationships and creating a UI.
Okay, Vijay, when we can expect a task from your end? By what time today? The
Yeah,
recorded session also the task.
yeah, share within 1 to 2 hours. Yeah, actually it takes 1 hour to load this recorded session. So after 1 hour I can share the recorded session.
Okay, Vijay.
All right, we'll have session on Monday. Next session is on Monday, the same time, 8 a.m. EST.